Sorry. We're back.
With another
Hello.
episode.
Hello. Are you listening,
I'm
Governor?
listening, Governor.
Good. We're going to watch Harry Potter now.
Is every episode going to start with you and your British accent talking about Harry Potter?
Yeah. I'm Ron Weasley.
Ron.
And I like Hermione. But I can't tell her because my mother would spank my bum. No, sorry. We're back with a new episode, everybody.
I was about to say of Translating Love.
No. Hello, I'm
listening.
This is the second episode in that new branch of podcasting, and we're excited about it. I hope you liked the last episode. And again,
if you didn't,
fuck you. No. If you didn't, then tell us why or how we can, improve. And again, we want to encourage you to have a dialogue with us. So you can send us a message on anchor.fm. We have the link linked in the description. Or just write us an email or on Instagram.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, did you just hear my throat?
I did. I did indeed. What are we talking about today?
Today we are talking about money.
Money. Makes me funny.
Just to go back a second, when you were talking about and telling them that they can leave us a voice message if they have complaints or things that we can do better. If that complaint happens to be about Woifi's accents, talking about Harry Potter, or his obnoxious singing, we don't want to hear it because we enjoy it.
Okay, money.
Yes, but
money
what exactly about money?
Sucks.
Do you remember the topic? I remember.
I don't remember, but let's just talk about money.
No, okay, the topic, at least I was thinking it would be interesting to talk about the power behind money and does money really buy happiness? When is money too much? Like when is it enough? Blah, blah, blah.
Because we can say that because you have enough. We don't. Let's just quickly throw the fact in there that money is a construct made up by man.
Indeed.
So
it's also a piece of paper.
Right. So we and nowadays it's not even paper,
digital.
It's digital. So it's digits, it's 1 and zeros.
Or pictures, apparently.
NFTs, which essentially is still 1 and zeros in the background. But nonetheless, so it's a concept made up by man, I don't know how many years ago.
Probably in a time where it made sense.
And not necessarily, because back in the day, people used trading things. Like, I traded you a cow for 4 chickens, or I made this loaf of bread and you give me 4 eggs for it. I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know if that makes sense. If you still trade things, please tell us if that made sense.
There are actually apps where you can look in your area that you're living and you can trade goods and services. So like I need a haircut. And I found this painter who commissions paintings, and they
I need
trade.
A blowjob. I found this whore on the corner.
I mean, you typically have to pay them money for that.
Yep, that's true.
But there are such things where people find other people, and that's how they live their life.
There are cool YouTube videos where they try to trade up a penny to a house. Mm-hmm. Which is kind of cool. So they tried things that are a little more valuable as the things they have, and eventually like get a house or something. Mm-hmm. It's kind of cool. But again, money is made up. So we follow and all drive to have something that is completely made up and technically is worth nothing. Yeah. So this piece of paper technically is worth like, I don't know, a few cents. If you think about like the production, that's it.
If you want to dive even further to that, even the production costs are also then a construct.
mean,
if money is
not
a
necessarily,
construct
because
and made up.
I'm talking about the water that they need and the energy.
Okay.
That's
then in
what
that
I'm
sense,
saying.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't know. I think in this day and life with Instagram and YouTube and all that stuff, where we can see, and I'm air quoting that, into people's life, money and wealth is celebrated as something that is not only great success, yeah, but attainable for everybody, and you need it to be happy.
Or to be successful.
Right. And with that comes the constant comparison that, oh shit, I don't have a yacht, I don't have a Maserati or a Ferrari, I feel like shit. I should have that, but I don't. Or, for example, hey, I'm working my ass off.
Yeah.
I have 3 jobs or 2 jobs, and I don't make anything because everything goes out the window for paying rent.
Yeah.
Now the gas prices.
But that's the other interesting aspect of it is inflation and how, our grandparents, for example, at least my grandparents, could build a house on nothing. They had nothing, and now this house is worth probably millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And they also saved so much money because things didn't cost as much as they do now.
Yeah.
And the way that inflation has gone is to the point where people can't afford to go to a cheap, again, quotes, cheap college to get an education without working 3 jobs, taking out a loan, and then they're paying off that loan for 10, 20 years.
Yeah.
I mean, and rent, I mean, everything, the costs of everything have gone up, and what we're being paid has not. Yeah.
And that comes down to uneven distribution of money. So in the last couple of years, and with the pandemic and increased even, the rich got more richer.
Yep.
And the poor got more poor because they got fired, they got laid off, they don't get paid as well anymore. And it's fucking crazy. And we still try to, I mean, if you want to make it in that a society, if you want to live in a house or an apartment, have a roof over your head, you have to work, you have to make money. But again, in certain areas, I mean, if you talk about like LA or New York City, I mean, not a single normal person can have a nice area there or afford it because it's so fucking expensive, and the prices don't go down ever, they just go up all the time. And there's no end in sight.
Yeah.
But again, as you said, the money that you make stays almost the same. There is no, not like a substantial increase in it where you
not
say,
enough
oh,
to
I can afford
match
that.
The
right.
inflation of everything
else. Never. And that's also not the point. How our system works right now, there's no point to make the poor necessarily wealthier so he can afford more, even though that would contribute to taxes, to the overall wealth of the country. And a lot of people don't get that. In America, the nice thing that they call it right now is communism. Like the right, they throw it around as if they know what it means, but it's so stupid. It's so fucking stupid. Having a society that is not poor, not living on the street, and being able to afford things is contributing to the overall health of the whole country and to the stability of the country. Because if people are happy and can afford things, then they're not unhappy. They don't maybe get that sick all the time. There are no, reasons to go on the street and demonstrate for things.
Something that I also think about, I wouldn't say frequently, but when this topic comes up, I think about certain professions make extraordinary amounts of money that I don't believe should be that way.
Actors.
Yeah.
or CEOs of certain companies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not to say that the entertainment industry isn't wonderful, because it is, and you work in that industry.
I mean, not really, but yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you're a filmmaker, that's your industry. But I feel like these people are getting paid these obnoxious amounts of money and living in these crazy houses.
Mm-hmm.
So the money is there.
Mm-hmm.
But the same town that they're living in, there's thousands of homeless people, and it doesn't seem fair. It doesn't seem fair. Athletes is another one.
Even if you think about like a blockbuster movie nowadays, 400 or 500 people are working on it, and there are so many people who get paid shit, but who are way more hours there and work way more hours than an actor,
and
for example.
Longer on it, not just the hours in general, but like the actors. Maybe you film a movie in 6 weeks? Is that
It depends. Nah, I mean, a blockbuster, you take a few months usually.
Okay, but still, okay, a few months. Where these actors are
and
maybe not there every single day.
Tour. Yeah. But that's technically it. Yeah.
And then there's post-production and all of this that goes into the final product that you see, and those people aren't making nearly what the actors are making.
Crazy. It's so crazy. I mean, the thing is, I get fame and stuff. At some point, people are so famous and they can afford to request a certain sum. But the problem nowadays is that that money is so outrageously high for some people that it makes no absolute sense. Nobody should be paid so much for a job.
I'm not going to call it out completely, but let's just say there was a popular sitcom in the 90s.
Yeah, Friends.
Where one of the actors was rumored, but I would guess it's true, towards the end of the series was rumored to be making about $1 million per episode.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Crazy. Think about how nuts
That's crazy.
That is.
It's fucking crazy. And let's go into, I mean, the thing is, I don't want to seem greedy. I mean, we're sitting here in this massive house.
But that's exactly the point. It's not about, that's the point. It's that we should be less greedy. We should be thankful for the things that we have.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't be putting so much emphasis on having all of these things that, material things.
Yeah. Just
live life and, have enough that you can, I mean, in the US it's harder, I will say. Here, you don't have that, at least I don't feel anymore like I have that need to have a safety net, where the money you save on the side for a rainy day, for an accident, for an emergency, because a lot of that stuff is covered here, where you don't have to worry about those things because of the healthcare system.
But then again, this is exactly why we pay taxes. People pay into the social security, and that's the net. That's where we as a society have a better life.
Yeah.
And this is not communism or something. It's just a democratic system and social system that works towards the health and happiness for people.
Yeah.
And if you look at Scandinavian countries, they have already figured out that 40 days a week of work is not healthy and not sustainable.
40 hours.
That's what I said. 40 hours a week.
Days.
Oh, sorry. 40 hours a week is not sustainable and not healthy anymore. And that is a concept that was maybe at some point necessary, but it's not necessary anymore. And they got rid of it. And people are way more happy, even though with the daylight situation there, they don't have as much light. And usually the depression rate is higher.
Mm-hmm.
But they lowered that. Also, depression in general and homelessness and people who are unemployed. So
I mean, I always just think about how much these rich countries, how much money they have and how much of it is going to where it's going.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
athletes, actors, and CEOs.
Military.
Exactly.
All that stuff that is not really necessary in the grand scheme of things.
All of that could be used to fix the homeless problem. It could be put into the healthcare system. It could be put into things that actually matter for the well-being of human beings.
Yeah.
Rather than for status.
Yeah.
And it's so many people are so power hungry and so status hungry that the amount of money they have defines their worth, which is outrageous.
Yeah.
It's
and then we
stupid.
see those pictures posted or in media or whatever, and we feel like shit. We're like, hey, fuck, I worked my ass off.
What did I do wrong?
Right. What did I do wrong? Why? How does, like, I saw a picture of a $550 million yacht today from a Russian oligarch who is not allowed to leave anymore. They kept it in Italy at some port. $530 million yacht. It's a fucking boat. And some person owns the boat. How in the fucking world is that a thing?
Yeah.
It's so fucking crazy. And at the same time,
there are people struggling to buy groceries.
Not only that, there are millions of people who starve every day.
Yeah.
Because they can't afford to eat anything. And they're so thankful if they get like a chicken bone.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's fucking crazy. And it's getting worse. It's getting fucking worse. And once you just say something like, hey, maybe we should tax the rich more, they're like, oh, no, blah, 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 blah. It's so fucking crazy. And that, again,
it's greed. It's so much greed.
It's all about a concept that is made up and was made up at some point. And we treat it as this holy thing that is our center of life and
exactly. It defines our worth. It defines our success.
Yeah. And it's the meaning of our lives.
Yeah.
And what the fuck? It makes no sense.
There's so much about life to enjoy.
And maybe let's go into how money can't buy happiness and why money is not everything.
I mean, I think it's pretty clear that money cannot buy happiness because look at the people who have the most money in the world. They're not happy. No. You're hearing complaints from those people all the time. The people who, like Trump, has so much. I mean, granted, who knows how much he actually has now. But even when we knew for a fact that he had probably billions, he is the most unhappy human being. Yeah. And you can say that about people who have so much money tend to constantly want more. They need to show off everything that they buy with their money. Mm-hmm. They need to prove. They're constantly trying to prove their worth and their value to everyone around them. Like, look how successful I am. And that makes me sad.
I wouldn't say everybody is doing. A lot of people who have a lot of money are putting it back into organizations and helping people actively.
Yeah, sure.
But
I just mean like in terms of like the world leaders, politicians that we're seeing right now.
A big concept that still is like a lot of people still believe in that is that when you have a lot of money, your sorrows are gone, which is not true simply because they just move. So right now you maybe think about, I can't pay my rent next week or next month, whatever. Or I have a hard time saving because I don't make enough and I want to go on vacation. So, simple things like that you shouldn't worry about, but you worry about. So if you have enough money, you don't worry about those things anymore. Mm-hmm. But then new things come around. So for example, okay, I make so much money, I need to do something. I need to invest it. Otherwise, I have to pay a shit ton of taxes. Mm-hmm. Oh, wait, I didn't pay my taxes, or I didn't pay enough. I have to pay more, or there was tax fraud, or shit, my health is going down the drain because whatever. There's still so many things to worry about, and that's not just gone. It just moves. Yeah. So you might not worry about paying your rent anymore. And money
also doesn't determine the relationships you have with people.
Right.
So
people can still hate you.
Right. You can have a shit ton of money and have massive family fights at Thanksgiving.
Or even worse, people are trying to come into your life all the time and trying to get the money or trying to get some fame out of you, whatever. Yeah.
And people who have lots of money have just as many problems with addiction, for example, that other
even
people
more
have.
Sometimes. Yeah.
Sometimes even worse, like gambling.
Yeah.
Or drugs, or, everybody struggles. Everybody has problems, and everybody has things that are difficult for them in their lives. And money does not fix that.
No. And there are a lot of books and also movies about that thing, but in the end, like if you think about laying on your deathbed, whatever it means, and thinking back, first of all, you can't take the money with you wherever you're going, so it stays.
I understand wanting to maybe have enough that you can set up a future for your children or your grandchildren.
Sure.
But that's also to an extent.
But even that, I mean, that is a privilege, and
sure, it's a nice gesture.
It's a nice gesture, but at the same time, you made it, they will make it.
Yeah.
But you can take the money with you, and in the end, it doesn't matter. Nobody will measure you or your life by how much money you had.
I mean, some people probably will, which is another sad aspect of it.
Sure, there will be statistics and stuff, but that doesn't really matter. I think it's all about the impact you made as a person and for yourself. All the relationships, that's the only thing that matters. So
when you get to the end of your life, are you satisfied with who you are as a person and the relationships that you have?
Yeah. Are there people there? Are there people grieving about you? Are there people who love you? Or are you alone? And it all comes down to that. Sure, you can have a shit ton of money and people still love you. Sure.
And you can have incredible life experience without having incredible amounts of money.
Yeah. And I think in the end, it's all about having enough so you don't have to worry about simple things like paying rent or getting food, and not having so much that you live a life that is so out of an ordinary human's concept, like flying to the moon or flying into space for $500,000 or more.
In a penis-shaped rocket.
Just because you can't and don't think about anything, or not even being able to know what it means to be an ordinary human being, like how much groceries cost and stuff like that. I think a lot of people who are a certain extent of rich,
they lose touch with reality.
Right. They don't have they don't know what it means to be a human being these days, and paying all the money towards just living, not having fun, going on vacation, but just simply feeding yourself, your family, and maybe driving somewhere. It's fucking crazy. And it's very sad. It's a very sad fact.
And again, I also understand that the two of us come from a privileged standpoint.
Obviously.
Not just because of our race, but also because of where we live.
No, obviously.
We're very privileged to live in a country that has good health care and that takes care of its people, and your hospital visit or your ER visit doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah. No, obviously.
So that's definitely a privilege. And I know from experience that people in the US, for example, do not have that privilege. Especially people in the middle class, lower middle class. You don't have that. You have to pay everything on your own. And it's shit.
But I also want to say, I'm very
So take
fortunate.
what we're saying with a grain of salt.
Yeah, but I'm also very fortunate in the way that I had always a roof above my head. I always had food on a plate, but I was never spoiled. I was never in the position where we're able to have everything at any point in time.
Yeah.
So I know what it means to save money. I know what it means to, we in Austria say, turn around the coin twice. So not indulge, but save actually, and maybe buy the not so nice thing because you simply can't afford it.
Yeah. And also there is something to say about the feeling of saving for something that you want instead of just being able to like snap your fingers and it's there, you know, like there is
you
something
value it more. Yeah.
You appreciate it so much more when you worked for it.
Yeah, that's true. And with that said, we encourage you to give us your money. No, I'm kidding. Please don't.
Although if you do want to do some good and donate, we'll link some links for the Ukraine right now and everything that's going on there. The best way that we can help and
I did that in the last
something
3
is
episodes
to donate.
too. So
we'll link some stuff in the description.
Yeah, that's it.
So
please like, subscribe, and follow, I think, on Apple Podcasts now. And
if you have a message for us, go to our Anchor page and leave us a voice message, and we'll feature you on the podcast.
Yeah.
And if you have an interesting topic that you'd like to discuss, maybe you have a cool job, maybe you just have some insights into something cool or something in your life that you want to talk about, we'd love to have you as a guest.
Yes,
so please send us a message.
We like to talk to you, so contact us now.
Call 1-800-podcast.
Okay.
Bye. Goodbye.